Welcome to the Stellantis Tech and AI podcast. I'm Dale Jewett, your friendly host. In this episode, we're going to talk about the ever-evolving subject of connected vehicles. And our guest is Ankur Vachhani, who is Vice President for Software Engineering Connected Services at Stellantis. Thanks for joining me today, Ankur.
Thank you, Dole, for inviting me.
To set the base of our chat, why don't you start by just telling me about your day-to-day life as the VP of Software Engineering for Connected Services here at Stellantis?
Yeah, sure. I work on building the connected services ecosystem at Stellantis. And that includes connectivity that comes in the vehicles, like telematic box inside the car that connects to internet essentially. And then all the web services on the back end that provides over-the-air software updates, provides the services to do remote control, like using your mobile phone, you can unlock your car or precondition your cars, and provide services to subscribe to various offerings that Stellantis has across our 14 brands and 16 million connected vehicle fleet in the field today. And we also integrate with our manufacturing plants. We have 54 manufacturing plants across the globe, and part of the ecosystem is to onboard those vehicles as they come off of the assembly line so that we can have the proper software configuration there, and those vehicles are connected to our backend ecosystem. So the day in life is somewhere between all these components about where we need to put our focus and energy on, and what matters most for releasing the software into these areas.
Okay. So I'm curious, how did you end up at a company like Stellantis? Or maybe I should ask Alexa to answer that one.
Yeah, it's a good one. Yes. I joined Stellantis 2 years ago, and my background has been, in software engineering. So before Stellantis, I was at Amazon for a little over a decade, where as part of the founding team, where we invented Amazon Alexa or Echo, and after the success of Alexa, we were working on getting Alexa everywhere. And one natural thing was to get Alexa into the cars. So that's how I kind of got into automotive domain. So while even at Amazon, we worked on getting Alexa to pretty much all the car companies, and Stellantis was a major customer there as well. So I think that was a good segue for me to get into the automotive domain. And personally, I'm a huge car enthusiast. So when you get an opportunity to work on something you're passionate about and something you're good at, I think that's a great opportunity for me to get into Stellantis.
Ankur, a huge car enthusiast. You don't mind if I interrupt and say, what would be your favorite car?
My favorite car right now is our Jeep. I am a big fan of Jeep Rubicon, and I have Grand Cherokee as well. So I really love this vehicle. There's muscle cars, if you will, in terms of the horsepower and then the off-roading experiences. So that's my favorite car right now.
Well, I've been around long enough to know and remember when cars talked to you back in the day, but about all they could tell you was that your door was ajar. We've come a long way from that, no doubt. The idea of a connected car has been a popular topic in the industry for several years now. I think that term covers a lot of different types of functions inside and outside the vehicle, going from the assembly line, as you talked about, all the way to when it gets into my garage. But what comes to your mind when the topic is connected car?
Yeah, I think the connected car is, to me, is like a natural extension of customers' digital lives now, right? So it's more than just a vehicle where it gets you from point A to point B. For example, if you're listening to your favorite music or podcast at home, and when you are on the go, you would like the same podcast or music to be resumed in your car. So that's just an extension of how your car is connected to rest of your digital ecosystem. So to me, that connectivity is getting to like a more natural integration in a day-to-day life, right? So you also use your mobile phone to remotely condition your car, like turn on the ACs or heater, and remotely connect for charging. So there's a lot of things where it's connectivity while you're driving, but also while you're not driving. So it it matters in a lot of the aspects for your day-to-day life.
Okay. So I think that's pretty interesting that you could move throughout your day and have the things that are important be with you all the time.
Yep.
And of course, I'm willing to bet that artificial intelligence is part of making that happen because I'm unsure of anything in the world today that hasn't been touched by artificial intelligence in the last year or two. Um, so how are we using AI in your part of the business, and how does that actually work?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the AI, as you had mentioned, it's touching all different aspects of life. And in the work that we are doing here, we are evolving a lot of experiences based on AI-powered tools in our development, but also in the product that goes to end customer. For example, AI-powered conversational voice assistant, that's one of the things that we are building. And that one allows, while you're driving the car, to naturally interact with the car and have a conversation to do things like setting temperature or navigating to some specific place that you go, or the entertainment is seamlessly connected between your phone and car infotainment system. So all of that is done using the AI tools that we build, but also using the data that we have in the car. Another example is when we have connected car, we use data to understand how to efficiently manage the battery in the car, the 12-volt battery in the car, and how do we improve the efficiency so that we don't run into battery drain situations, so we can make that very useful for customers, but also use data and apply AI to understand how to be smart about when to wake up the car when the car is asleep. And that matters when you have your mobile phone, you're trying to use it to, let's say, remotely unlock the doors.
Hmm.
And if you can be, if the car is asleep, that takes a long time. But using AI and using the data that we have, we can wake up the car anticipating that at the time when customers would try to unlock, and that enhances the performance a lot. And in the other aspects of the AI integration is, while we are building the cars in the plant, we are changing the way the software it gets into the car at plant. We are putting our uh, updates into the plant. We are doing the early detections of software issues while we are manufacturing it, so that we can make sure that the latest software is in the car, and we can also avoid sending cars with wrong configurations to the customers, which in a if not fixed, would require customers to go to dealership and either change the part or software. So we can avoid that by putting this right AI tools in our factory itself. And for customers in the long run, we also have two other important aspects. One is what we call predictive maintenance. So with the AI tools, we do understand like how the cars are used, when certain type of maintenance are due, and we can provide that notification to customers early on, and also extend that to do the scheduling with dealership. And all of that is done in a way which makes sure that we can avoid issues which otherwise would have happened if customers are not informed, or things are not built which can learn as the vehicles are used. And then the other aspect is the personalization of experience. So we have like hyper personalized experience that we could build in the car, like depending on who's driving the car. For example, you can have the different setting for your HVAC, and certain time of the day, certain time of the year. You can just do the setting temperature in the cabin without customer having to even touch the button or even use the voice, right? Those models can be smart to just do that. And continuously we do the software update, right? So over the software update, so that the cars stay fresh and like years after you bought them, right? And like you mentioned previously, in the olden time, you get the car and that's it in terms of how we have interaction with our customers. So with constant and regular over-the-air software update, you get to enhance the software in the car, add new features, and also have an ongoing relationship with customers through the software updates.
Have we reached the point, Ankur, where the car knows that it's me when I get in the vehicle?
Yeah, I think yes, depending on like what kind of like features you have in the car. So the basic thing is your phone, for example, when you connect. So your Bluetooth connection is one way that car knows who's in the car. The other part is the smartphone as a key. So you could use your phone to unlock the car and get inside. So that's the other way to know. And in some other advanced cars where we have, let's say, camera inside the cabin, where it can be used to do lots of things. One is to use for autonomous driving use cases where it makes sure that the driver's eyes are open, for example, right? So that we can give a warning if the car was not driving so it should, and then can be used as a way to identify who's driving the car and customize all of your infotainment and all your seat preferences and temperature and whatnot based on that. So there are various layers of how we understand the customer and personalize from there.
Those are some really neat features, Ankur. I'm guessing that the people who work on your team are pretty skilled at what they do when it comes to creating the software to make all this happen.
Yeah, I think that we're fortunate to have a lot of talented people on our team. And in terms of the technology that we are building, our ecosystem includes a variety of things, right? In the car and inside the car, in the telematic box, we have software that's built using C, C++, and Linux, and a lot of the knowledge in the automotive uh, embedded softwares, but also on the in the cloud services, we have people who are skilled to build the the services that we need. We use Java, Python, and we also are integrating with the AI tools to enhance the developer productivity. For example, we have integration with the GitHub Copilot. That's one, and we recently announced our partnership with Mistral AI to do the LLM integration for our development, but also in our products in the car. So there is a lot of places where we're building tech and we are integrating AI into it, and we do have like there are products where we are starting from scratch where we can have a clean slate and use AI tools to build it, but there are also modernizing or refactoring of our existing legacy code base. So collectively we have about over all our 14 brands, we have about 100 million lines of code, and that one we could use AI tools. We are using AI tools to refactoring a lot of them and modernizing them so that it can be updated regularly and it can also be efficient. So using AI tool is tremendously helpful in terms of us refactoring this existing code base as well.
Well, that's good. Plus, I think it makes the auto industry kind of appealing for people who may not have thought originally of coming to Detroit or wherever to apply their skills in software development.
Yes, I think it's a very good point. The automotive, like you mentioned, it's been thought of as a tech about cars, right? It's about mechanics, it's about EV, it's about horsepowers and engine. But now in this transformation phase, it's also turning into like a tech gadget, right? If you will. So there's a lot of powerful computer inside the car now. Autonomous driving is an obvious example, but like rest of the car also, just in terms of your infotainment that you see, the size of your screen, and the things they could do inside the car. It's ever evolving tech, right? And there's a good balance right now in terms of how we tune that tech, right? So one thing to ensure is while you're building this feature, to have like a simple and easy to use customer interface, right? Because you could build a lot of this tech, and we want to make sure that it's easy for customers to use and intuitive while driving. So if you take your phone, for example, there is one way to think about is it do we get closer to the phone and the UI that we have there? So the answer is yes for partly. Or for example, when you expect your software updates in the car, you would expect that it updates like a phone regularly, right? So in that aspect, yes, but in terms of like the apps and the buttons and then the UI that you have, I think while you're driving and going 70 miles an hour, it's a very different paradigm. You want to be more hands-free, more glanceable, requires minimum touch. And that's why the voice integration makes a lot of sense because that you can keep your hands on the wheel and eyes on the road while going. And I think that's where there's a great intersection of how tech is getting into automotive and the software specifically getting into in the US, like getting into Detroit and the automotive world, which you wouldn't otherwise expect maybe 5 or 10 years ago. So that's been a huge transformation, and that's how people like myself who has been in automotive but had more of a tech background before and getting to be part of this transformation and be part of the story. It's an exciting space to be. I think this is one of the area where AI impact is real life. The AI impact is in the physical world, so it's not just software that you build, but you can get to see that software getting into the car, like 16 million cars we have today, and some of the most iconic brands that we have in Stellantis, right? It's a really good opportunity to see your software getting in the cars like Jeep or Ram or Chrysler in US or Fiat and Maserati or Alfa Romeo, and if you're in Italy, or Peugeot or Citroën if you're in France. So those are some of the most iconic brands that you can make impact on for your software. So it's a very interesting time, and if people listening to this, if you're excited about this space as much as I am, and we are here, then you could join us.
That's great. I think you brought up a really good point, Encore. This whole talk about making my vehicle be an extension of my mobile phone. Over the years, I've heard discussion, and some people think that you really want the car to act like a mobile phone. But listening to you talk, I think what we really want, and from my personal experience, I know that I actually appreciate that I can give voice commands to my vehicle if I want to send a text or place a call while I'm driving, because it's impossible. I mean, it was hard in the beginning, but it's almost impossible now to manipulate the actual handheld device while you're actually driving and do it safely. So I like that the vehicle becomes an extension of my mobile phone rather than just absolutely replacing it.
Yeah.
And I would also, I know Stellantis has a well-earned reputation of having one of the most user-friendly interfaces in the industry when it comes to the whole center stack and infotainment system, because we're throwing a lot more functions and features into vehicles every year. Is it a big challenge to try and keep things that user-friendly?
Yeah, it is a challenge. In fact, I think we're proud to be rated higher in the infotainment in the industry, but we still have work to do and keep up to make sure the interfaces are simple. I think one of the challenge there is decide what not to do in terms of those software features, because you could overwhelm customer with too many complex menus or too many complex settings, and at the end it would look simple, but behind the scene to make it simple, it actually is harder on the back, right? So to decide to make sure that we keep it very intuitive, we make the lot of A/B testing beforehand, so to understand how customers would use it or would like it and not. And a lot of that work and decision making goes before the software goes to the customers. And as more and more features are getting added to the car, it's actually more challenging to see and find out what is the most relevant things for the customer to show. And further to that, for Stellantis, we have a very different kind of brand and customer base. So for Jeep customers and the off-roading customers we have in US would expect different things from, let's say, Maserati customers in Europe, right? So it also matters on what we show to customers in different cars. So for
Mhm.
Jeep, if you're using the car, there are special settings around off-roading and things that matters for that kind of experience versus on the other cars they're more focused on the comfort. So deciding on what matters for what sort of customers is also very important for us.
I also think, Encore, that we're having a sort of change and an opportunity as a number of our vehicles are beginning to add the option of another screen on the instrument panel, and this one would be in front of the front passenger, and it's designed as such so that the driver can't see that screen, but it's
Mm-hmm.
an opportunity for someone who's with me on the drive that they can now have input into the information because they can use that secondary screen for navigational purposes or some informational purposes, and then share that information in a way that it helps the driver uh, find their way, but without the driver having to divert their attention from the main task of driving the vehicle. So I think
Mm-hmm.
I'm intrigued by that. I'm interested to see how customers adopt that and if they find more uses for that technology in our vehicle.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that's one of the very like unique thing that we're doing in terms of providing that experience for like passengers in the car, right? So in the front seat we have that screen. We also have a rear seat entertainment, which my son absolutely loves. I mean, that's one way to keep him quiet during long rides. So he is busy with playing games or watching videos. So I think that really helps in bringing a lot of the feature that customer care about. The other one is the Wi-Fi hotspot that we have in our cars, where you
Mm-hmm.
can turn your car into a Wi-Fi hotspot so that the other phones or tablets in your cars can connect to internet without having to have your phone become a hotspot, and then the connectivity goes in and out. So a lot of those features are really useful, and we hear feedback from our customers that is the kind of thing that they would like in our cars, and then they would expect features like that.
Parents today have it so good, Encore. I'm telling you, my children are grown, but it's still high in my memory what a revelation it was when first VCR tapes and then CDs became available, entertainment in vehicles, and you would need to take a trip, and you ran out of car games to play and snacks and all that stuff really fast, but you could put a movie in, and the backseat passengers were pretty well entertained for a couple of hours. And when
Yes,
you're the driver trying to make a goal, that counts for a lot.
yes, it does.
One of the questions I have is, inside Stellantis, we talk about the power of innovation and simplification. How are you and your team bringing those aspects into our vehicles?
As mentioned before, like simplification touches like a different aspect, right? So the one simplification is features like using your smartphone as a key. So that brings a very convenient way for you to get in and out of the car, so you don't have to take your car key out and physically unlock. So that avoids that steps, that brings convenience. The other one is the feature that we're building to do for EV customers, do the charge scheduling so that you can plug in your cars at home, or if you're a different place where you can have the set schedule so that you can follow the charging preferences that you have, so that makes it easy. And our goal generally is to make it very seamless when you like starting from the point where you buy the car, right? Where it comes with connectivity out of the box. That's one of our mission, without a customer having to figure out how to do the connectivity for the car. How do you subscribe for different things? And our goal is to make it very very simple and intuitive, where it just works right out of the box. So and then you don't have to to do any specific settings or configuration for that. So that's the North Star in terms of providing that connected experiences. And as we're talking about personalized experiences, so we can go into different areas at how we personalize that for different features that we have in our connectivities around, remote commands or over the air software updates and things like that.
Okay. I sense when I look at what's going on, Stellantis and other car makers, as we're evolving this connected vehicle ecosystem, a key element is we really want to stay in touch with our owners after, whether they buy or lease a vehicle. We really want to be engaged with them beyond that sale point. And I think again that tends to kind of follow the model that we've seen in computing and mobile phones. Why do you think that this is important, that we maintain a relationship with our owners 2, 3, 4 years after they've acquired their vehicle?
No, I think that's a very important point. I think that is where, like, to your earlier point, there's a paradigm shift on how the automotive OEMs and how we as Stellantis look at the car. So it's the purchasing of a car is like a first step into building relationship with customers. So it's not the last step where you make the purchase of the car. For us, it's very important for many aspects. I think one is we want to have direct relationship with customers so that we understand how our customers are using our vehicles and how our customers can provide feedback onto certain features they like or certain features they don't like. For example, Wi-Fi hotspot, the feedback that customers can provide in terms of whether they like certain aspect, whether they have found issues. So that helps us enhance our product tremendously. So I think that one is why we have as part of our connected services ecosystem built this model where customers are registering to Stellantis account, their Jeep account or their Peugeot account, and sign in to the car using that, so that we have direct relationship that we can understand the car usage pattern, or we can also detect the issues early. For example, we have this battery management in the car. If there is an unusual battery usage pattern, then we would learn from that and we can notify customers so they can take actions, or if we can take action on customers' behalf to avoid any issue that might otherwise happen. So there are lots of good reasons for us to stay engaged with our customers so that we can learn from that and make our product better.
Okay, Ankur, this has been really good. I've got a final question or two. For a software guy, are you enjoying your life here in the car business?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm loving it. I think it's a great intersection of the passion I have for cars and passion I have for software building as well. So we're sure there are lots of ups and downs and challenges as a car company and in Stellantis, but I think we learn and evolve from there. And there is, like I said, there's never a dull day here at Stellantis. So we're always learning.
You're right. There is no dull day. That's fun. Any advice you want to give to anyone who's thinking that this would be a great thing to do for their career or their work?
Yeah, I think it's a it's a great space right now in terms of making an impact and being at the forefront of a lot of the innovation that's happening. So we have autonomous driving for cars, an obvious example where there's a lot of innovation happening to get to the cars which can drive itself. So that's one part of innovation that's happening, and even outside of that, in the domain that I focus on, there's an exciting opportunity to build the new tech, but also you look at the consumer product and you look at the real world product. So it is very exciting to see that you are involved in starting from the manufacturing of the car, which now feels like it was like an yesterday's thing where the manufacturing was like a was a high-tech thing. But now we're going back into the place where even in manufacturing, we have opportunity to do a lot of things better with software in terms of automation, in terms of the finding this early, or just enhancing our manufacturing process itself. So there's a lot of real world AI and the software opportunities there, and all the way till the car goes to customers where you could be directly interacting with what customers see and feel inside the car. That's the experiences of your connectivity. So yeah, I'm really enjoying it, and I love what I do.
Perfect. Well, thanks, Ankur. This has been a really interesting chat, and it's probably one I should re-listen to when I'm in my car.
Absolutely.
And thanks to everyone else for listening to the Stellantis Tech and AI podcast, where we speak with some of the brightest minds in the tech and automotive industries. We invite you to follow Stellantis Tech and AI on LinkedIn and Instagram to join the conversation, stay updated on what's ahead, and be a part of the community exploring the fast line of technology and AI in the automotive world. We'll see you again soon.